You are live.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are so honored to have you on our Committed to Community webinar. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, our Committed to Community webinars have been happening since the beginning of the pandemic. We thought this was the best way to get as much information as we could to the business community so that we can all learn and thrive together as we've had to go through the many pivots that have been 2020 and now 2021. So we are so excited, and we couldn't have this without our wonderful sponsors. You'll see on my side here, we have our annual sponsors who've invested so much in us to make all of our work possible. So thank you, Kaiser Permanente, OCCU, Peace Health, Northwest Community Credit Union, Summit Bank, Royal Caribbean, and Wells Fargo. Thank you for investing in us. And today's webinar, our Committed to Community webinars, are made possible by Oregon Community Credit Union. We really couldn't do this without them. And I'm going to hand it over to Ethan, who's a representative, and he's going to introduce our speakers. Thank you so much, Ethan.
Thank you. OCCU is proud to sponsor the 2021 Committed to Community webinar series. Today's webinar highlights exciting opportunities for the business community as Eugene hosts the World Athletics Championships. The spotlight of the world will be on Eugene, Oregon, with thousands of potential international travelers set to visit in 2022. We have an opportunity to roll out the red carpet, making our mark as a global destination for track and field. Thank you for joining us today to learn more about the role of local businesses. I have the pleasure of introducing our presenters today. Heather Beck and Sasha Spencer Atwood with World Athletic Championships Oregon 22, Stephanie Scaffa with the City of Eugene, and Emily Forsha with Travel Lane County.
Thank you so much. Jen, I believe do you still have full sharing capabilities? I realize I lost my host abilities.
Oh, I sure do.
Perfect. Who would be sharing the PowerPoint that we should make a co-host today?
Me. Thank you.
Stephanie, thank you so much.
All right.
So Stephanie, we'll pass it over to you and let you take it from here.
Great, thanks so much. I think we'll just do really quick intros. My name's Stephanie. I work for the City of Eugene, and I'm the community, one of the community connections for the Oregon 22 event that's coming to Eugene in July of 2022. And I'm joined by a variety of colleagues, and we're all working together to make this happen. I'll pass it to Sasha.
Hi, everyone. Thanks very much. I am Sasha Spencer. I am the director of the Athlete in Team Experience for Oregon 22. But additionally, I work in this space of stakeholder relations and community activations. I'm excited to be here to talk to you guys about our event.
Hi, everybody. I'm Heather Beck. I work also with Sasha at Oregon 22, and I'm the project general manager.
I'm Emily Forche with Travel Lane County. We are the destination marketing organization that promotes Lane County as a destination for travel, conventions, sports, and meetings.
Wonderful. And as always, to all of our attendees, if you have questions that come up during this meeting, if you would just put it in the chat, and we'll make sure that we get your questions answered at a Q&A towards the end of the presentation.
Well, thank you all for joining us today. We're all really excited to be here and to be a part of the Caring About Community presentation. Before we really dive into our piece of the presentation, we wanted to give you a video intro to our brand. We created the video that you'll see in just a minute in October of last year as a part of our brand launch as Oregon 22. I think most of you might know that our event was supposed to be this year in 2021, but was pushed out 11 months due to the Olympic date change as a result of the pandemic. So after the video, we'll take you through some of the work that we've been doing and how you can engage with that work. So not quite sure who's sharing the video, but thank you, Heidi.
My journey began in Oregon,
where athletics is woven into the landscape.
a landscape of endless natural beauty. My career has taken me,
Around the world.
but I always come home to Hayward Field. It's the home of Track and Field USA.
A glorious, legendary venue reimagined by athletes for athletes.
A stadium whose heart beats for track and field.
A stadium that will soon be the home of the 2022 World Athletics Championships. "2,000 athletes
From more than 200 nations
and thousands of fans from around the globe
are coming for a once-in-a-lifetime experience for the first time on U.S. soil.
The world's greatest track and field stars are Hayward bound.
For world records,
For the fans,
for gold and glory,
and for the world's most prestigious track and field event.
see you at our home in 2022.
Just a quick plug and thank you to AHM, who's our local brand agency, and they helped us create that video, which is pretty special. I'll pass it to you, Sash.
Mute, unmute dilemma, right? Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. We are, as I said, excited to be able to reintroduce the event in the case of some of you introduced the event, perhaps for others. The business community has consistently been one of our biggest champions and supporters. I know you're as excited as we are for the opportunity that lies ahead. We wanted to start out by really, for those of you who may not have been introduced to kind of some of the heart behind the event and the way we think about it and have been putting it together. We know that in opening up our community, there are opportunities, both from a business standpoint, but also just to really express ourselves as Eugene Springfield community. And we're looking forward to the chamber and businesses around Eugene as really being ambassadors for the work that we do in lots of different ways when people come here. And so we wanted to kind of emphasize some of the points that are really important to us. This is the heart and home of track and field in the United States. And it is for many reasons, both because of the reputation and the legacy that was established so long ago by great coaches and athletes like Bill Bowerman and Steve Prefontaine, but also what has come of from that legacy in the hosting of Olympic trials since 2008, several NCAA championships, and this will be the third international event, World Athletics event that's hosted by a Eugene-based organization. I've been involved with the attraction of and preparation for this bid since 2012. And so really excited finally to get to share with the world all the work that we're doing. And there really is no better place than Eugene in which to host this and no better community than the one that we're in. Next slide, Steph. Just to give you a little bit of background, we, as I said, have been preparing for this event for several years now. But when we experienced the postponement last year, it really put everything into a brand new context for us, as I'm sure it did many of you. Throughout that, we took the opportunity to revisit our strategic plan and really shift our focus from what was maybe a very operations-based approach to it to really looking at what we wanted to achieve through hosting this event. So as an organization, what was the platform we wanted to develop and create for communities like Eugene Springfield, for Lane County, to really elevate the points of emphasis that they wanted to make throughout their community and throughout the planning. And so we started to look at the fact that there were a couple of things that came out of the last year, right? One was the need for us all to look at the value of diversity and what we're doing to be champions of creating environments for diverse populations that are safe and healthy and welcoming, and also how we all benefit from emphasis placed on diversity, from inviting new neighbors and citizens and residents into our circles to having the opportunity to take advantage of and really learn and grow from different perspectives and cultures. It's one of the things that's really excited about hosting the event. The other was just the digital transformation, recognizing that services and goods and experiences are no longer delivered in the ways that they used to be. So there's a need for us to shift as well. And we think there's a tremendous opportunity across the entire community to really take a look at how we make the event and ourselves more welcoming to both the visitors that we'll have coming from the outside and our friends and neighbors who live right here amongst us 365 days of the year. Next slide, Steph. So we developed a strategy that it's funny to look at it at one infographic. I'm sure many of you can relate when so much time and energy has gone into focusing on this, but essentially around the things you see here, developed 4 big goals. Our strategic initiatives, which are supported by a lot of the things you'll hear today. I think what we're talking about falls into several of those. I think driving change is one of them, building a dynamic team, because we certainly anticipate you guys being part of our extended team. And all of those things are really supported by the mindset that I talked about. We want to be athlete centric because we know that the better athletes, the better attention is paid to the services and the experience that athletes have, the better performances are, the more fun everyone has, from the digital spectator who's taking advantage of the event from far away, to the people who are here in town, to the storefronts and business owners who engage with people who are really excited to be here. So we really dove deep into developing a strategy that we thought would really support where our heart was moving in terms of the opportunities that this event presents. Next slide, Steph. I want to talk a little bit about the logo, and actually Heather helped, was instrumental in developing this. But when you see this up and around town, it's important to us that you have an idea of what this new brand means, because in addition to the development of the strategy, we took a look at the brand and really made it something that is meaningful to us. You'll see that the innermost rib, as we refer to it, and the whole arc of it resembles the lines of Hayward Field and really of that new developed construction. But the innermost one is red and represents really the heart of the beating act, the heartbeat of the action that happens at Hayward Field, the performances of the athletes, the things that really fuel the event and should be held really closely to the heart in terms of when we think of the event. The next rib is green, representing Oregon, our commitment to green, sustainable living, and the event's commitment to conducting a sustainably run event. And also just the innovations in green industry that take place in this community. The blue rib represents USA. Team USA is the world's #1 team. And we're thrilled that they get to come to home soil for the very first time here in a venue that's located in our community. This also represents a nationwide event though, and it's something that we're working with other stakeholders, USA Track and Field, USOPC, to ensure that this is a local event that's also celebrated on a national scale. And purple is the outermost rib representing the world. It's really the thing that unites and ties us all together there on the outside ring. And it represents just the global nature of the event. It's a regal color that is welcoming and recognized worldwide for its ability to really bring people together. And that's what we're hoping the event is able to do also. So together these kind of comprise the meaning behind some of the brand work that we've done. And we wanted to share that with you so you guys can pass by and have a little bit more insight into what it means. Heather is going to talk a little bit about some things to know.
Thanks, Sash. Yeah, there's a lot to know about the World Championships, but we put together some key topics for you to just be aware of. And we can send this out afterwards as well, so you don't have to memorize it. But the event will take place on July 15th through 24th next year at Hayward Field. It's a 10-day event and will showcase the world's best athletes in action across all track and field disciplines, including marathons and race walks. The World Athletics Championships have showcased the greatest athletes on earth since 1983. Our event is the 18th edition of the World Championships, and it's the first time ever that this is happening on US soil. So that's very exciting. And previous host cities have included Doha, London, Rome, Athens, Berlin, and Beijing, and now little old Eugene. There are 2,000 athletes representing over 200 nations that will travel to Oregon to compete for the title of world champion. The world's most dominant track and field team is Team USA. They have the most medals ever won by a country in the 36-year history of the World Athletics Championships. So they're really the most successful team in history with more than twice as many medals as the country who follows. Which I'll just pause on this really quickly because the sport of track and field is pretty dominant in Eugene, but in the rest of the country, it's not quite as popular as it is in the rest of the world, which we always talk about internally is quite funny because Team USA is the best team in the world. So we're really hoping to grow the sport through our event as well. And then there'll be a global media presence and coverage of the event, reaching an audience of over 1 billion people and broadcasting more than 6,500 hours of television coverage. So this really touches on that digital transformation piece too, and how can we deliver that heart and home experience, not only for the people who are traveling here, but for the people who are watching the event on television and on digital platforms as well.
So in just a little while, Stephanie will talk to you about some of the City of Eugene and Lane County's goals for this event. But I wanted to take a minute to highlight, one of the things that I've already emphasized is a priority for Oregon 22 as an LOC. And that's this ambition that we landed on of being the best of all worlds. We recognize that in welcoming over 200 nations to our community, we are preparing to really be the best hosts that we can be. We're preparing from an event operations standpoint to deliver the best event that we can, but we recognize that there is a really important role for the community to play in creating a welcoming environment, not just for the guests that are coming from out of town, but as I mentioned, also for people of different cultural origins and backgrounds who live right here in our community. We think that there's a tremendous, tremendous opportunity to use this event as a chance to learn about other cultures that surround us, to celebrate other cultures that surround us in different ways, and to invite people to engage, not just in event-related activities, but ultimately, I think the goal is to gain greater engagement in our community as we look at diversity and the value that diversity brings and the different perspectives. And both the kind of personal and financial and economic benefits that can be gained by increasing our engagement with lots of different communities, we think this is a tremendous opportunity to do so. We look to the business community as partners, not only because your businesses and storefronts engage in lots of different ways with lots of different people, but also because you have networks that go far and beyond depending on the goods and services that you offer. You have the opportunity to reach lots and lots of people, including people who may not be represented on this call, right? Non-chamber members, business owners who are small mom and pop shops who rely on local citizens and local patronage, but may not have the same networks of opportunity that we do. So we're really hoping that you join us in embracing this as an opportunity to explore ways in which we can engage more and more of our friends and neighbors in both the economic benefits of everyday life in Eugene, but also the opportunity that lies in creating this celebration of all of these different global nations and cultures that will be represented through the event. Heather's going to talk a little bit about, I talked about us being athlete inspired and the importance of that to us, especially as an operations standpoint. You should look forward to having people walk around in their different team kits. We are anticipating that we'll be welcoming somewhere around 3,000 athlete and team officials. And so those will be new faces and new people in and around town and in and around your businesses. We want them to have great experiences. We know that the success of this event hinges on a couple of things. Regardless of the job we think we're doing, what really matters most is the experience that people walk away with having. And athletes are definitely one of our key constituent groups. And it's one of the reasons that again, we welcome you to partner in helping to create tremendous experiences for the people that come into town. Heather's going to talk a little bit about how sustainability and progressive delivery and design fit into our vision for the World Championships.
Thanks, Sash. So we have a pretty robust sustainability strategy that is really committed to delivering a sustainable event. We're working with the Council for Responsible Sport to achieve certification of our event, which is really exciting. We also strive not to do things as they've always been done, but look at everything through a lens of serving our constituent groups, which you'll see in just a moment, being sustainable and being inclusive. So all these things that Sasha just spoke to, along with sustainability and progressive design and delivery of our event, really comprises of our world mindset. Now I think Stephanie is going to go into city activation.
Great, thanks. So we've been working over the past year together to really hone in on how we're going to activate the whole community, with knowing that the track and field portion will mostly be happening at University of Oregon. We're thinking about how to really build it out so that anyone who's here who maybe does or doesn't have a ticket can still participate in the action. So this team that's presenting today has been working over the past year on developing citywide activation strategy, which really aims to direct people who are visiting as well as residents around town so that they could see all of Eugene. One of the really unique things about having this event in a community of our size is that people who are visiting will really get a chance to be able to experience the entire community and get a feel for what it's like to be here, as well as other parts of Oregon. This slide takes a moment to load. Hang on 1 second. So our goal is to create a never before experienced city celebration in Eugene. And as soon as the slide loads, you will see that there are a number of pictures depicting people that are having all sorts of fun in a gathering in spaces together. I totally recognize that these pictures are people not wearing masks, and having a ball. We are really hopeful that next summer will be a time where we can safely gather in these ways again. We're also just very aware of the current pandemic that we're in and are doing everything we can to ensure the health and safety of everybody participating. So I always say that as a caveat, just so people know that's where we're at. But we're working together. So this is a collective partnership that ultimately will result in this never before experienced city celebration. We are partnering with the following organizations to really make this event happen. And so just so you kind of know who's at the table, we'll start at the top with World Athletics. They were formerly known as the IAAF, or the International Association of Athletic Federations. They went through a rebrand about 1.5 years ago. So they are the overarching organization that is running this event. Oregon 22 is the local organizing committee, or LOC. Then University of Oregon, Travel Oregon, Cities of Eugene and Springfield, Traveling County, as well as regional destination management organizations, and then USA Track and Field. These are the partners that are really making this thing happen. We are hoping people experience Eugene in a variety of ways. And so while they're here, we hope that people are able to frequent local businesses. We hope they use our parks and trails. We hope they get tickets to the event. There's a variety of things that people can do as a way to plug in and feel like they're really part of it. And I like sharing from higher level just what some of the community-wide goals and objectives are, really so that you can see yourself in the context of this event and really think about how you want to plug in and participate. So from the Oregon 22 standpoint, in regards to community and overall engagement, they want to connect community, enhance the city experience, and ensure all services and operations are in place so that the event can successfully run. And then the shared goals for the city of Eugene, which I represent, and Travel Lane County, are to maximize results from existing plans and policies to support the event, engage the community, and ultimately to inspire the world. This is our moment when we know that so many eyes are going to be on us. Ultimately, that will result in this never before experienced city celebration in Eugene. And then I also like to share who our audiences are. We all are different organizations and we're working together to make this happen. For the city of Eugene, we're focused on the Eugene community. We want to create an experience that offers the entire community a sense of pride, celebration, and belonging. For Travel Lane County, they are focused on visitors. There's an opportunity to position Eugene and the surrounding region as a premier destination to visitors by creating an emotional connection that makes people want to come back. And then Oregon 22 has a number of constituent groups that are called out here. Their goal is to deliver an unmissable World Championships and ensure that experiences across all the constituent groups meet high levels of operational excellence and then embrace and deliver a heart and home experience that's unique to Oregon 22. In terms of community outcomes, at the City of Eugene, we've really talked a lot about what our opportunities are being a host city for this event. We've talked about some immediate outcomes, which are sort of these general ones, and then more of like the legacy longer term outcomes that we're hoping for. So in general, we really want community members, businesses, and agencies to be more educated about world cultures because of the event. We want local businesses to feel included and excited and play a key role in promoting the event the year leading up to it. We would like the community to be able to articulate basic facts about the event, knowing where to point people with questions and recommendations. We want the event to play a key role in catalyzing economic recovery efforts post-pandemic. And then we want visitors to feel welcome and a sense of belonging when they're here. And then in terms of an overall arching community legacy, in the future, some of our goals are to have a more multicultural and diverse Eugene that welcomes and inspires the world. We want to continue our track and field legacy, having people who live here just like understand the importance that this sport plays in the greater region, our history in the sport here. We want to continue to build trust and deepen relationships between agencies. Ultimately, like working on something this important and fun together also allows us to just deepen relationships and solve more complex problems as time goes on. We want to create and maintain our culture of innovation. We have a lot of innovation in our community. And then we want to be able to tell stories and build partnerships around key legacy aspects of the event. We're leading with a carbon offset program and the sustainability strategy that Heather went into. So for this particular team, we've really thought about implementation in these three major buckets. So community engagement, we create an opportunity for everyone to be involved, inspired, and part of the event. We want to really focus on the Eugene experience, creating a uniquely Eugene experience for the residents of Eugene and the surrounding areas, and from fans from all over the world. And then in terms of operation, we want to ensure that our city is ready to support the event due to increased number of visitors. And I'll just share that what we're envisioning for the community-wide celebration is a celebration on the newly developed riverfront property in downtown. So you'll see the eWeb admin headquarters off to the right, and then all the way to the left, just the bottom corner of the building that's pictured up right on the river is the steam plant. So you get a sense of like where this site is. This drone shot was taken in March, so it's pretty recent, but there's a lot of work being done in the riverfront park. And then there's space where the mixed use development that will be here in future years is gonna go, but it'll be a blank slate next summer and with a couple of construction projects happening on site. But this will be the site of a community festival for 2022. And we envision that festival taking place during the 10 days of the event. It'll be a spot for people to gather. It's going to be accessible, and it's really not that far from Hayward. And so there will be plenty of ways for the community to plug in and really be part of the action while the event is going on.
Yeah, so we all keep talking about the opportunity around this event, and one of those is just this opportunity to be champion world hosts, both for this event and into the future. So we want to make sure the community is ready to welcome the visitors who will be here. So making sure our frontline staff is equipped with knowledge both about the event and about the region and the experiences that visitors can have while they're here. And we also want to make sure we're ready to really talk about and tell our story and show off those things that make Eugene so special, all those great alignments with the event on things like sustainability and inclusion and innovation. We want to make sure everyone who is here has a great time. So we want visitors to have the information they need at their fingertips, whether it's maps, guides, the calendar of events of what's going on. We really see this event as a catalyst to develop some tourism experiences that will continue to serve us into the future. And of course, when people have a great time, they're going to share that with the world. And that's where one of the legacies of this event can really be that momentum in our community right now is an exciting place to live and visit, can continue long after the event is over. One of the things we're working on is delivering to businesses some sort of toolkit. So all this information can be in one place for you to access. So we see this including things like visitor information and resources, frontline training materials, as well as information about other ways to plug in through marketing and advertising opportunities as they kind of continue to develop. We're currently conducting a survey of businesses about what kind of physical assets you might be interested in having in your business as part of the celebration. And if you've not yet taken that survey, I'll drop the link into the chat, and we would love it if you'd spend a few minutes sharing your thoughts with us as we go into planning what that toolkit will look like. And just one note on that piece, we are looking at having some sort of cohesive community look and feel to those materials. It won't look exactly the same as the event branding, and I'll let Heather touch on that now.
Yes, so thanks, Emily. I just needed to touch on a few key points because we actually have pretty strict commercial regulations on our brand because of that partnership that Steph showed earlier. So from a rights protection space, only official partners of our event can use the logo and official event marks. That's why this additional kind of community brand will be developed through Traveling County so that businesses can get engaged with something and not have to follow our commercial regulation. And then the event name should always be spelled. I'm just calling this out because it can be a little confusing, but it is the World Athletics Championships Oregon 22, and both athletics and championships are plural. Athletics in the rest of the world means track and field. In the US, it's kind of all encompassing of sport. So it can be a little confusing to not say it in a singular way, athletic. But anyway, just needed to call those out. And then the reference to the championships can only be referenced in editorial context as a factual statement, unless we're working in partnership with you directly. And needs to also be in a neutral font. So we can follow up with this stuff and give a little more context as to what we're talking about. This is just something we have to add into presentations. And then if you'd like to connect with us, we launched, as I said, our brand back in October. So we're at worldchampsorgan22.com. We're also on the social media platforms you see on the screen at WCH Oregon 22, which is our official shorthand of the event. And yeah, that concludes our presentation.
Wonderful. Did we miss it? There's a second video that we could play. Did we miss that somehow?
You should play it, Heidi. I was just
Okay.
going to say, now is a great time. It's
Perfect.
it's the
I was like-
athletes' opinions and or not opinions, the just their excitement around coming to Eugene. Thanks.
I love this video. It gets me so pumped every time I see it.
This is my home track.
This is the place where I'm training.
We are at
Green Stadium.
a beautiful place to train.
I don't get to have super big track meets in the US a lot, so when I do hear that we're gonna have world champs at Hayward, it's like, yes!
One word that describes Hayward Field, it'd be passion.
Magical. Electrified.
I dream of holding an American flag over my shoulders on US soil.
I'm looking forward to being back there again for the World Championship in 2022.
I am already looking forward to the World Championships in Eugene, Oregon.
The home of track and field.
Eugene 2022.
And obviously in 2022, we're going to feel the glory.
感受荣耀。
Something about that just gives you chills, you know?
Every time that video plays, I have to stop myself from running down the bio of each one of those athletes. They really do represent the top athletes in the sport. They're Olympic gold medalists several times over, some of them world record holders. And the fact that Eugene really is some place that they hold near and dear to their heart, and they're genuinely excited about competing here, is something that we should all be really proud of.
That's so beautiful. So we are going to move into the portion of our talk, which is Q&A. So if you have some questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. We already have one from Beth Casper, which says, do you or will you have a hashtag for community organizations to use on social media?
Yes. So I think a part of the community brand, that will probably be a piece of that branding. Emily might be able to speak more to that. But if you are referencing our event, the hashtag is WCH Oregon 22. We're also using hashtag Feel the Glory. And then we often hop along on the hashtag of Hayward Magic, which is long established, but very relevant for us.
That's awesome. If you get a chance, Heather, can you drop those hashtags in the chat? So we've got another question from Michelle. Will you distribute information about how businesses can be an official partner? Is there a way for a smaller local business to participate at a reasonable level? Anybody want to take that?
I can take that, Sash. At the time, there is not, but we do have, so we have a preset of partners that come with the World Athletics Championship kind of package, but we will at some point have national sponsorships available. It's just not something we're working on at this time, but yes, more to come.
So to add on, or to ask a follow-up question, for this festival that's not a part of the actual athletics championships, is there an opportunity for a local business to get involved with that one?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, thanks, Heidi. We I could speak to the festival, then Emily can always fill in the blanks of what I'm leaving out. So for the community festival that's going to happen on the riverfront, the city's leading that effort, and we're hiring an event production company who will be soliciting sponsorships, figuring out packages and what that looks like. We basically gave them a vision for what we want a festival to look like, and then are hiring people who know what they're doing to run the festival. And so there will be opportunities there. In addition, we're really looking at activating different parts of Eugene in ways that highlight our local community. And so some of the areas that we were really interested in directing fans, just so you could kind of like picture how the traffic pattern is going to flow. We're thinking about the riverfront being the epicenter for community-wide activation, which leads into Market District, 5th Street Market, into downtown Eugene. And then from there into the Whitaker. All the ticketed fans and the official event will be happening around the university. And then Main Street and downtown Springfield is another key area that we're really thinking about, and how to critically, put the right things in the right places so that we are highlighting as much as we can locally. We're going to hire an event production company in July, and that's the timeline right now. And so I think by the end of summer is when we'll be funneling all this information through the chamber and Traveling County. But that's when we'll be likely have some more structure figured out around soliciting sponsorships and how to plug in.
And I
If you want to, go ahead, Emily.
Yeah, I was just going to add, there will probably be marketing and advertising opportunities beyond that as well. And kind of along that same timeline, I would watch for, opportunities to maybe advertise in some of these like visitor information materials as those start to come together.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. From an event standpoint, we want people to get out and about. I don't know if you caught some of those previous host cities that Heather mentioned, but Paris, Moscow, London, the fans that come to events like this are excited to get out into the community. And we certainly want to work with Traveling County to ensure that they know where to go. So while we as an event don't have opportunities for official partnerships, we certainly will be looking for ways to direct traffic and direct fans and spectators out into the community to patronize your businesses.
Perfect. I see some more questions in the chat, but I'm going to real quick ask a question that's similarly related. I remember, Heather, you mentioned that at some point we will need like professional volunteers who have experience in specific areas, and that's one way that the business community can get involved. Can you speak to that just a little bit?
Yeah, I'm happy to kick it off, and Sasha might want to jump in here too, but we probably will be looking at around 2,500 volunteers when we start the recruitment process later this year. And there will be some more generalized roles, of course, that anyone could probably jump in and pick up. But yes, there will be some more specific skills that we're looking for as well. So we will funnel that through the chamber as well. I don't know if you have anything to add, Sasha.
Well, we're hoping that businesses can see this in ways as a professional development opportunity for, different departments or specialties within your business. I think that we're also looking, in addition to what we run as a workforce program for official volunteers, for people, as I said earlier, to become ambassadors for the event. So even if you don't participate in the event from the standpoint of an official volunteer, we encourage you to take advantage of the resources that will be made available to learn about the event, to be able to educate and assist patrons that come into your store and may be curious about where other things are or how to get around. So we're hoping that this really is, for the first time in the history of the event, it's named for a region and not for this specific city. It's called Oregon 22 because we believe strongly that the success of the event depends on all of us kind of linking arms and becoming representatives. So there'll be official volunteer opportunities and needs for specific skill sets and opportunities for your employees to gain perhaps some experience in professional development in these areas. But there's also kind of the unofficial ambassador of the city and of the local area that we're hoping each of you guys embrace as well.
Wonderful. Mike asks, will the Oregon 22 brand be showing up and activating at the upcoming Olympic trials, HSAF championships, and the pre-classic?
It's a great question. We would love to be there, but we can't be there due to COVID-19 protocols. The athletes specifically too are kept pretty separate right now for their safety. And so we did plan to activate at the Olympic trials. We will no longer be doing that. Other events, we'll see. We would love to be there locally, and we have aspirations of being at all the Hayward events, really. So I think it just depends on what the protocols are at that time.
Excellent.
And so that's the case for live activations. There will be branding. The presence of our brand will be present. Or we have a strong partnership with USA Track and Field. And so we anticipate that on some of the television and broadcast advertising, the brand may be featured. Prefontaine Classic is a World Athletics property. So we anticipate that we'll have some global reach in terms of the brand on there from a broadcast standpoint, and perhaps in stadium signage and boards, and those things are things we're exploring as well.
Thank you, Sasha. John asks, are there opportunities for local businesses to provide products and services, banners, posters, calendars, etc.?
I think there will likely be opportunities for all those things. And I think what would be great, I'm going to put the survey link in the chat right now, and there's like some space in there for you to fill in if there's something really specific that you're interested in. We'd love to hear what it is.
And it sounds to me like that question might be procurement related, as far as like being a supplier. Possibly. If not, I'll answer that anyway. We do go out to RFP for anything over a certain dollar amount threshold. All of that work is really starting to ramp up right now. So anything that does go out to RFP, we will have on our website. And yes, as far as banners, posters, calendars, from a production standpoint, we will need to source that.
I think also from a promotional standpoint, you saw on Stephanie's presentation kind of the list of constituents that we as Oregon 22 will be serving. We're working with Travel County on ways in which to highlight local businesses and local products and services. And so as we look to say, we want to put together a welcome basket, you know, we are going to be working with Travel County to figure out what we do for those, what goes into them, how do we highlight products and services that are native to our local communities. So there will be opportunities for that as well. And Travel County are probably the best ones with whom to work on if you're interested in becoming one of those highlighted products or services.
Awesome. So here's a question for you, Sasha. It's happened in Beijing and London and all of these cities with over 1 million people. How did Eugene get chosen? Can you walk us through a little bit of that process, what it was about Eugene that really was like, yes, we want to go there?
Yeah. Well, really, we have all of you to thank, right? We have the legacy that has been created in this community going back into, you know, really starting with Bill Hayward and the establishment of Oregon as a track and field powerhouse from a university standpoint. And then just the continued investment of the community has really made this the heart and home of track and field in the United States. So when we were led by a visionary leader of the bid in Vinland Anna, he said, why wouldn't this, the largest event in the sport outside the Olympic Games, be hosted here? And he started to put together a coalition of support. We went to bid for the event and were awarded the event for Doha was awarded 19 and we were offered 21 and jumped on the opportunity. It is known globally as the home of the US is known as the most powerful track and field team in the world. And this is known as the most iconic location for track and field in the US. So we're really happy. We think it doesn't belong anywhere but here. So we're thrilled that it's ended up here. And one of the things that we really see as a huge opportunity, because people come here for Prefontaine, they come here for NCAA championships. We've come here for Olympic trials before, but never before have we had this kind of global audience. And so we're really hoping to deliver a different kind of world championships, right? This isn't Paris and we're not trying to be Paris or London. We want a boutique championships that's really rooted in the community where all parts of the community are invested and involved. I've been to world championships in London and in Doha, and you can travel as little as 30 minutes away from the stadium, and some people have no idea that it's going on. We're excited about that not being the case here and about really blanketing the region with support for world championships and really adding to the excitement and welcoming feeling that our guests feel when they're here.
That's beautiful. I didn't think about that, how when they get here, because we're such a small community, everybody's going to be jazzed and excited for it. And the energy, it's going to be like contagious. That's incredible. So it doesn't look like we have any other questions. I'll give a little bit of a pause for anybody that wants to throw in something at the last minute, but does anybody want to wrap up and take us home with this? Final thoughts from the panelists?
I would just thank everyone for coming. I know that there are businesses and people who might not be represented here, and we hope that you share our excitement and our enthusiasm. I really want to emphasize the survey that Emily put in the chat. It really is the best way right now to let us know what you'd like to see and the types of connections you'd like to make. I know there's a lot of demand in the community for how can I get involved and how can I stay connected. I would look at the links that Heather highlighted in terms of our website and really explore and poke around there to see different things. You can sign up for the newsletter, whereas that will be the first place where information comes out about ticketing and volunteer opportunities. And we'll continue to stay engaged. We're happy to be partnering with the Chamber in these efforts, and anytime anything significant develops, we'll be sure to push it out through channels, through the Chamber channels. I'd like to encourage you again to get out even beyond Chamber members to your friends and neighbors who may not be involved in this network, and to invite them to join us in the ways that we've highlighted, and just continue to kind of watch this space. We're developing ideas, but we didn't want to do it in a vacuum. And so we're really looking forward to partnering with the people represented here on the screen to make sure that this event delivers, not just in the ways that we have planned from an operational standpoint, but really becomes something that the community gets behind and is excited to have here.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Heather, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I put a link in the chat to sign up to get on our email newsletter, and just gonna say you're gonna want to be signed up here very soon. Exciting announcements coming.
Ooh, I'm excited. No, I am signed up. I love it. So thank you, all of you, for being on this call today. We will do our best as a chamber to get information out to the business community, but reiterating what Sasha said, it can't be done in a vacuum, and we all need to come together. So we are just so delighted that you took the time today, and you took the time at the Economic Summit. I just love being on a call with all four of you. It's definitely a highlight of my day. So thank you all. Thank you to our sponsors. If you have any questions, we will send a follow-up email to all attendees. We'll get some more materials for you, and we'll have some of these links in the email as well. And we'll have this recorded so that people can watch this as they, if they weren't able to make it today. So thank you all so much for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful, Thursday? And thank you all for being here.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.